Welcome to Car Audio Fabrication, the show where together we learn to master car audio and how to design, install, and build our ideal car audio system. When installing a subwoofer box, it's not going to look in place to just simply place it into a trunk or rear hatch of a vehicle. For a truly custom build, we want the box to look integrated into the vehicle, so we need to create a false wall beauty panel. But how do we do that and match the side contours of the walls of the vehicle? What if we also want to include an amp rack cover panel and have it match the side panels as well? Well, there are many ways to do this, but in this video I'm going to show you what I did on Project Rebuild. Let's take a look. To start framing out the trunk, I'm going to start with making the beauty panel that actually covers the subwoofer box. In any build, you always want to build off your existing construction rather than starting elsewhere and trying to meet it. I've already pre-cut several 3-inch wide strips for this process, and I first make a bottom piece that is the width of the trunk. I'm making little marks on each side of where the mounting pad ends. You can see that I have some wires that I'll need to pass under the beauty panel so I can start a cut at these marks. I'm using a couple of different template shapes to make a perfect profile, and since this wood is only a 1/4 inch thick, I can quickly copy the profile using a router table. Now you can see that this piece fits in place, but it also has clearance for the wiring. Now I determine how long I need my top piece to be and cut a piece of wood to that length. Now I know that for this top piece I want a nice smooth arc on it, so I'm applying template tape and copying using an arc template. I'll now check the fitment of this piece within the trunk, and as far as I can tell, everything looks good. In order to copy my side profile, I position an adjustable curve in place. Once I'm happy with the positioning, I lock the shape in place using masking tape. I make marks on the masking tape using a pencil so that I know where to start and stop the profile. I then cut another strip of the wood to the approximate length. I then lay the adjustable curve on this piece and trace its profile. This allows me to position several pieces of template tape. I then stick the adjustable curve in position. Over at the router table, I've loaded up a 1/2 inch flush trim bit with a 1/2 inch square Teflon bearing. It's important to use this square bearing so that it rides nice and smoothly against the edge. Now I am applying tape to the back side of our bottom first piece. With the bottom piece carefully aligned and stuck to the box, I can now position the side piece. Here I am scribing a line where the piece will be in place. This allows me to know where to put the CA glue, and it also gives me kind of a point to aim when I quickly apply this side piece. After applying the CA glue to one piece, I spray activator on the other. Now I can carefully align the two pieces and stick them together. What's really awesome about this CA glue is once about 15 seconds have passed, I have a really nice strong bond. This process gets repeated on the opposite side piece as well as the top piece. Now there's no reason that you have to do this with 4 pieces. If you have a more complex shape with a lot of detail, you can do this with several pieces. Just make sure that you cut each piece so that they have an overlapping area for the glue to be applied. Now I can carefully detach this assembly and I'll transfer it over to a full size of wood. As you have probably guessed by now, I simply trace that profile, I lay down template tape, and then I can stick this template piece to the top of the wood. Next, it's over to the router table where I'm using a 1/4 inch spiral flush trim bit to copy the profile. I'm copying it straight to 1/4 inch MDF, so it's easy to go through without rough cutting. I want to say thank you to my newest Patreon supporters Kevin, Peter, Oziel, Lachien, and Wayne. Their donations help to purchase the wood and materials used in this video. Thank you again, you guys, for supporting the making of this content. I also had a quick little finishing touch to the top corners using this circle template. Now it's time to turn our attention to the amp rack. I've made 4 mounting pads by cutting 12 3-inch by 3-inch pieces of wood and gluing them together. This stack of wood clears my amplifiers and will serve as a foundation for the amp rack beauty panels. These 2 larger pieces of wood will mount to the little square towers and will give me a lot more surface area to mount the amp rack to. I first secure the top of the board to the top tower using a temporary screw. After carefully aligning the top board, I then drill a pilot hole into the second tower. This ensures that all the holes are lined up with one another. I'll be inserting threaded inserts into the lower towers. To make sure that I drill the proper depth for them, I use a piece of masking tape on a drill bit. This allows me to make sure that I don't drill any farther into the piece of wood than I need to. Using the threaded insert application tool and an impact driver, I can now add the threaded insert. I of course repeat this process 4 more times, once on each of the towers, and I can now use 1/4 20 machine screws to mount these boards. Now I once again repeat a similar process to capture the shape of each side of this trunk. I start with using some temporary template tape to apply these first 2 pieces. Another great way of capturing a curved profile is using these profile transfer wheels. For other small details, you may have to improvise. In this case, I'm using an ellipse template to make a clearance for a fastener that holds the trim panel on the vehicle. To cut the profile shape that I drew, I first lay down several pieces of the template tape and then apply the adjustable curve. After applying masking tape to lock the curve in position, I can once again flush trim it out. Carefully gluing each shape into position allows me to once again capture this profile of the side of this trunk. In the meantime, I've also created this centerpiece. Do take note that the way I've designed this, the pieces have overlap right above the mounting pads. This will allow me to fasten them securely in the future. Now I can cut the profiles to a solid piece using the router table. With this step complete, I can now start assembling the trunk and see how everything comes together. Now while we're watching the assembly process, if you could just take a quick picosecond and smash that like button straight through the ground, it would be greatly appreciated. Now I know these pieces are very flat and plain, but they'll serve as a foundation for adding dimensions and a very cool fabricated look. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe so you can be updated when I release a future video. Alright everyone, thanks for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, check out this playlist over here where you can get a sampling of what my other videos are like. For those of you that have been around for a while, be sure to check down in the video description. I have a link to a free training program that you can sign up for where I basically email you guys weekly tips and techniques. For those of you that really love the videos, please understand that I'm simply a guy that loves car audio so much that I want to obtain the highest level of mastery. But to me, this journey is just so much more fun if we can learn from one another and help each other as well. I truly love helping you guys. But with that said, these videos do have a cost associated with their making. Since I don't sell car audio gear or own a car audio shop, these videos are funded completely out of pocket and made on my spare time. Please check out the links to Patreon down below where you can help offset the cost of making these videos with small donations per video. I'd like to give a thanks to my current supporters, Emmanuel, Rory, Eddie, Richard, Mark, Truman, and Jerry, along with all the other Patreon supporters. Thank you again for watching.